We sent our challenger player Hector into Emerald Elo as ADC to find the best way to carry when the enemy team gets fed during lane. We love to make Hector play ADC when teaching because he's arguably got the worst mechanics of any challenger player you could find, which are only getting worse with age, and he's definitely not getting younger, which forces him to rely even more on fundamentals like macro, which anyone can learn compared to mechanics. This is why we love to teach macro to our skill cap members to ensure everyone significantly climbs instead of claiming the rank up guarantee we offer, which we'll talk more about later. The results for this particular game are pretty hilarious. Hector literally made a Vladimir who was 7-0-3 during lane phase leave the game with the exact same score, just because of the macro strategies Hector uses, which he believes are by far the most effective way to climb as an AD carry. So let's get straight into it. Okay, this is going to be a battle of who uses their leads they got during lane better than others. Vladimir has destroyed Hector's team and has fast-tracked his way to some scary and expensive items. You've all been there. Somehow the scaling champion on the enemy team is ultra fed. They're now a monster that will never fall off. Not what you want to see. Hector, on the other hand, wasn't handed free kills, but did get ahead using the core fundamentals we teach at skill caps during lane phase. With a melee support versus a ranged one, your goal is to drag the wave here, have high HP, then engage. This works in most matchups. Watch how many times Hector tried that here.
I'll leave for recon spells at 4:15, I'll ghost in.
Rakan was not making this easy to win though. He had good intentions, but his execution wasn't great. But Hector kept trying to set him up again and again.
Where is my recon?
The thing about some strategies is that you just gotta keep trying them until they work. Finally, after a billion attempts, they go in and score a double kill. While that was happening, Vladimir was getting his 7th kill of the game, and that's the last action Vladimir will ever see. He won't ever get another kill, assist, or even die. He will AFK out of pure tilt on this same scoreline after Hector's hit and run strategy. So what is the hit and run strategy? The idea is all centered around tempo and wasting people's time by thinking further ahead than they can. The core idea behind this strategy, especially in low elo, is that players are not particularly good at forcing you to come to them. A challenger team with a lead makes it almost impossible to do anything because they have pressure everywhere. But in lower elos, players tend to be very reactive to what's happening on the map. It doesn't matter if they're a 7-kill Vladimir or a fed Zed. The concept will be the exact same. By putting pressure in lanes at the right opportunity and running away, you can not only avoid the fed enemy player, but also waste a ton of their time in the process. The key is a balance between playing aggressively enough to put pressure, but always having just enough leeway to run away from the danger. That's the general idea anyway. Let's learn more as we see how Hector uses it in this game. Hector will immediately make use of his game plan. His team has decided to concede dragon since they're behind, but the enemy team is making a critical mistake when securing the objective. By looking at the minimap, can you tell what it is? They're letting Hector and his Akshan push in mid and bot. Although they'll secure drag, they'll be behind on tempo after the fact for no reason.
I don't know where Vlad is. It's very good Akshan's pushing mid. It's probably going to force Vladimir to hold. Or he's just on dragon. AFK with his team. Makes sense. We get free mid tower here. I'm kind of down to play here, by the way. We could play right here. I don't think they'll know. I don't think they'll know. We have so many ways out.
This play right here perfectly highlights why many low elo players struggle so hard to climb. In fact, Hector even mocked it in his commentary if you recall, making fun of Vladimir AFK with his team at Dragon. And we even have Diana spam pinging to retreat, which shows she's not even aware of what's going on. Remember, you want to hit and run when there's a fed enemy player. These mid and bot waves are perfect for that. There are so many possibilities here just because Akshan has so much pressure in mid pushing waves at this moment. Let's say they saw Hector and knew he's cheesing here. If they flank after Dragon, he can just run them around this wall. Meanwhile, Akshan would be pushing mid. Yes, it's a bit risky, but you'll never win games unless you're confident in your ability to outmaneuver your opponents. 2, maybe one of the enemy players walks through here to catch the wave. If it's Vladimir, you can harass him a bit and run away. Or if it's someone else, you simply kill them and hard push the wave. Or 3, everyone collapses on Akshan, but that just means that Hector can instantly come out of fog and start hard pushing. While they all deal with the mid wave, Hector crashes all the way into the tower. Quick question, can he stay here for long and finish the tower? Definitely not. The tempo advantage he had in mid is gone now, but he's hitting the tower for another reason.
Now we force Vladimir to waste his time. 3, 2, 1, we get out. And he started walking. He's somewhere around here, surely, and he's just wasted a lot of his time.
What he just did takes practice to learn the timing for, but is extremely obnoxious for his opponents. By staying this long, he forced Janna to have to come guard her Jhin at tower. She didn't know if Hector would overstay and dive her ADC, so she has to waste time and come defend. Likewise, you can see he was right about wasting Vladimir's time. He wanted to come bottom, but realized it was pointless, so his time is just being wasted. Think about it. When you're fed, don't you hate it when people permanently run away from you? You're strong, but no one ever fights you, so it feels bad. This is the start of Vladimir's mental collapse. He will never be able to hit Hector, so he will curse the fact that he ever got a lead in the first place. Also, if you're enjoying hearing Hector's real-time thoughts while he carries games in Elo Hell with strategies you can easily use, then we upload live commentaries every week from Challenger players, including Hector and myself. You can even select your favorite player, with Hector alone having nearly 100 live commentaries, just like the ones we're analyzing in this video. These are so popular to learn from on our platform since they show you how to carry from start to finish, even if your teammates are awful. We also make sure to pick the strongest champions and builds for climbing with each week, so you're sure to learn a ton while also staying ahead of the meta. So sign up to Skullcap today to access them and so much more. Check us out after this video. Anyways, with no gold for his item, Hector stays bottom and keeps farming.
Okay, so we saw Vladimir and Herald, so he can push this.
After pushing the wave, he moves to take Gromp in full vision. This is the same thing as hitting the tower. You want to pressure something the enemy team doesn't want to give over for free, so that they send players to respond. At the same time, Hector is positioned very defensively so he can get out and simply waste their time. Rakan, on the other hand,
I don't know why my Rakan's positioning like this.
You all know how annoying it is having to put your life at risk to save your crazy Rakan supports. And it would have been fine if not for the surprise crocodile that teleported behind them. Hector has to use both summoners and barely gets out with his life. This may seem like a colossal mistake, but this is precisely the type of pressure you want to have when you're winning, but your team is losing. Hector's entire team is losing, but look at how much breathing room they get while this bot lane play is going on. Alawi can take top tower, Diana on the other hand got to farm a bit and then look to invade for free, and Akshan, well, you can't have it all, can you? Meanwhile, the enemy team only gets a single tower with their Rift Herald while being grouped up as 4 players. This is extremely inefficient by them. After that play, Hector bases and is on a big spike. Okay, think about our guidelines so far. In League, you want all lanes efficiently farmed, so someone will have to match this Vladimir in mid. Should it be Hector, or should he let someone else handle it?
I'll keep being bot. I like being bot. I just get one shot by Vlad. My Akshan can keep dying to him, it's fine. If I die to Vlad, the game's over, but if Akshan keeps dying to him, it's not like that over, you know?
This is an extremely important point, and a big reason why Challenger players can always carry in low elo, even when their teams are running it down. When you're fed, you absolutely cannot die, or the game will 100% be lost. However, it is completely fine if your other teammates keep dying. Remember that there are 5 actual human beings in your team. It's hard to believe that sometimes, but it's true. Everyone wants to win just as much as you do, and confidence is a much bigger deal in League than people often talk about. Think back to some games where you press tab and have a really fed member. Don't you feel relief, or like the weight is off your shoulders to carry? It feels good knowing someone is doing well on your team and that you can play off them. Imagine looking at Hector's score in CS right now. If you're in the game, you think you can probably carry, but the second that fed player dies, everyone will instantly lose any hope and probably play much, much worse. When you are the beacon of hope in a game, it is critical that you place your own life above everyone else's, or the game will completely fall apart.
I might just base here. There's nothing for me to do. I have no information on the map, right? Typically you get this wave. I have zero information. Vlad's probably rotating here because Jhin is mid. So it's probably better to just base here and get a null magic. There's very high chance I die on this wave.
It's important to keep your farm up as he has been, but he's not taking any unnecessary risks. Look at how vigilant Hector is on the map to find Vladimir.
Vladimir, where are you?
The hit and run strategy continues. Find the threat and either avoid or annoy them. Never directly confront them. After pushing mid, Hector hovers his team as they look to invade with their priority. They catch Nidalee and he ults in to help.
I'm so scared. I missed time my W. I need to run. I cannot help. I cannot help. I cannot help. Run.
By the way, did you notice how everyone listened to those pings? This goes back to our earlier point. Your team will always be much more willing to listen and cooperate when you're fed. Everyone knows they should listen to Kai'Sa right now and are very agreeable with whatever Hector might ping. Yes, it won't always work, but it's way more likely to happen when you're playing this well. On top of this, due to establishing mid priority before the fight, they can now rotate mid, take the tower, and steal red buff after the fight. That was a good reminder for why you should always try to push waves before fighting. It gives you way more options after the fight is done.
So we're just abusing the fact that Vladimir is he's not playing the map well. Like, he's not putting pressure on us.
That's exactly what we mentioned before. Do you see how easy of a time Hector has had avoiding Vladimir with basic scouting? He's not forcing anyone to react to his pressure. Vladimir is mostly just waiting for stuff to happen. This is a good lesson for any role. When you're fed, you want the game to entirely revolve around what you're doing. So for example, we've seen Hector do this a lot so far. He's hard pushing waves, forcing people to respond. Or he's baiting multiple enemy players to try and kill him. He's making the map about him, which means he can control how the enemy team is playing so he can run them around. This following play will be a perfect example of how the enemy team is failing at that. After getting back out on the map, Hector pushes mid and looks to rotate towards top.
The enemy team is so slow on the map, they're not pressuring anything.
Pushing that wave gave Hector a lot of information. Before this fight, remember that our objective is to avoid Vladimir, while still making plays on the map. Before going into a skirmish, you always want to know if you have a reliable way to get out, in case you need to run away from a Fed member. They see Nidalee first, but she was really tunnel visioned on the fight and instantly gets picked off. Then, as Vladimir comes in, we want to avoid him. Typically, you could just run away here and avoid fighting, but Hector already scouted and knows that there is no one behind Renekton. Because he's Kai'Sa, he can use him to escape and get a kill at the same time. After finishing him off, Vladimir starts coming in close. He has no ult, and Hector is pretty fed, but why even give him the chance to do anything? With a flash combo, Vlad might be able to kill him, so Hector doesn't even give him the opportunity. He just walks away. This poor Vladimir is so strong, but you wouldn't even know it. The one time he finally managed to get on Hector's screen, he did not let him engage. He can only watch as his team dies and lanes get pushed in. Hector and crew take a free Baron off those picks and will now look to close out the game. Despite being in control now, hear how Hector is still sniffing the area for Vladimir.
Where is he? He could be in here.
Little does he know though, Vladimir had had enough after that last play. He was long gone from this game and was not coming back. Can you imagine having such an insane game only to be constantly denied again and again? Poor lad. Leaving games is never cool, but we don't blame him one bit here. Okay, that looked way too easy, but that's the point. When there's someone that's fed in low elo, most players just fight them fairly and feel like there's nothing they can do. But it doesn't matter how strong someone is if you play like a mosquito flying around just being annoying. If they don't know how to properly pressure the map, which most low elo players don't, you can easily avoid them and target the areas where they're not at. A fed player cannot be everywhere, and you can almost always take advantage of that in low elo, just like Hector did here. Anyways, remember to check out our thousands of live commentaries, and of course our world-class courses over at Skillcapped. You're sure to improve, and if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service, then you can claim a refund anyways. Thanks for watching.